Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Sham Sundar Radha Sham Sundar Radha Sham Sundar Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Shri Radhe. Jaya Gaurani Tai Jaya Gaurani Tai Jaya Gaurani Tai Jaya Gaurani Tai. Nitai Gaurani Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaurani Hari Bo. Nitai Gaurani Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaurani Hari Bo. Nitai Gaurani Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaurani Hari Bo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for attending Prabhuji's program. A quick introduction. Radha Gopinath Prabhu has asked to keep it crisp, short and sweet. So Radha Gopinath Prabhu is on the board of Temple Presidents of ISKCON Chowpatty, Mumbai for over 30 years. Academically, he holds a master's in speech and hearing from the All India Institute of Speech and Hearing. Now, of course, it's my privilege and honor because my early days ISKCON Chowpatty, where I joined Hare Krishna, Prabhu is one of the pillars of Chowpatty. So he has mainly been involved in congregational preaching and development from the start. And several hundred families he has nurtured in their spiritual journey. He is also a pioneer of the introductory 6 sessions of Gita course called The Science of Self-Realizations, and thousands of newcomers have connected with Hare Krishna because of that. Also, Prabhuji is very, very keen in guiding children and conducts value education classes in Gopal Gardens High School in Mumbai. So Prabhuji travels all over the world, sharing Krishna consciousness. I was speaking to my mom. We joined around the same time, Hare Krishna. And I said that, Radha Gopinath Prabhu and Damodar Prabhu, they are visiting us. So she's 90 years old. She was so happy. And she says that, Arey wah, you know, ye to, they are in Hindi. She's saying they are the walking, talking, breathing Shastras. Walking, talking. We open Bhagavad Gita. These are books. We listen to lecture. They are walking, talking, breathing Shastra. I said, Mom, that's such a nice thing to say. Why? And she says, that's because they embody the teaching of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So we have Prabhu in our presence. And now a little bit about dear Damodar Prabhu. When we went to receive them at the airport 2 days ago, what struck me with Damodar Prabhu is his super intellect. And I said, Prabhu, what's your itinerary? And he listed out the itinerary date-wise. My God, I lost the count of how many places he's going to, from here to there to here, all over the US they're traveling. And I just thought to myself, he's much more busy than what we, as professionals and working. That kind of a lifestyle, and he exactly knew what's happening when, where. So Prabhuji is from IIT. Those of you who are from India know what is IIT. IIT is one of the top ranked engineering colleges in the world, not in India, in the world. He has both his bachelor's and his master's. And Prabhu is also been on the faculty of the Bhakti Vedanta Vidya Peetha for teaching Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrit at the Govardhan Eco Village for more than a decade. He's also been a faculty at Mayapur Institute for teaching Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, teachers training, and the Vaishnav Sadachar course. So several initiatives of devotee care Prabhu has been involved with. Also, Prabhu is an excellent cook and a manager, organizer. Under his guidance, the kitchen at ISKCON Chowpatty and Govardhan Eco Village has become ISO 22000 certified. His kitchen team organizes Mega Yatra Kitchen on Wheels, feeding 6,000 devotees daily in annual Kartik Yatras and 10,000 pilgrims in Kumbh Melas. So we are so fortunate with Prabhu's being here with us, and I'll finally end with, yesterday, they met up with their Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami. And then Maharaj says, there's a very popular song in America, God bless America. So Maharaj told them, you have come here, now America is blessed. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Amritanand Prabhu, for your kind words of introduction. We'll briefly chant the invocation prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamcha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shannavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Pancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhube Vacha Parithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we are extremely grateful to His Grace Madhupati Prabhu, His Devki Nandan Prabhu, and to all of you for inviting us here and giving us the opportunity to speak. I'll speak briefly. I'll just introduce the topic and then His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu will elaborate it. I am speaking first because I have been serving in the kitchen and have seen many adversities happening in the kitchen. So, everybody is cutting their hands and sometimes burning their hands and so on and so forth. So, we have chosen this topic as we know how Kunti Maharani has offered that inconceivable prayer, let there be more calamities, more adversities in life. So, but we will just discuss this topic. I thought I will introduce briefly. We all face difficulties, challenges, adversities in life. And Bhagavatam equips us how to deal with them better. So we'll discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam perspective. Before we deal with any situation, any challenge, we first have to understand the cause of it. Just like, give an example, if someone has got a fever, then the doctor has to find out the cause. Is it a viral infection, or it is some bacterial infection, or any other cause? So the cause has to be diagnosed. And then we are better equipped. We know how to address the cause, how to deal with it. So for any situation that, or any difficulty, any challenge that comes up in life, we can see there are always three causes at interplay. So we have to identify the three causes and deal with those three causes. So always there are three causes, and if we address any situation on three levels, we will see we'll be much better equipped. We'll be able to handle any situation in a much better way. So the first cause of a difficulty or a challenge is the immediate cause. We have to identify the immediate cause. As I said, if there is a fever, then we have to identify what's the immediate cause of the fever. Is there some virus, bacteria, any other microorganism, so on and so forth. And then after we diagnose the immediate cause, we need to address it. We need to deal with it. That we all know how to do it. That's pretty simple. And that's also very practical. We have to act. We have to understand what's the immediate cause and deal with it. And Prabhupada used to also say, yes, do the needful. You need to do the needful. That's the immediate cause. But just if we are stuck at the immediate cause and we do not see other causes, then we cannot effectively deal with any challenge or any difficulty. We need to go a little beyond the immediate cause also. And the second deeper cause of any challenge in life is the remote cause. Now, we understand fine, I got sick due to this virus or bacteria and so on, and I deal with it. But then remote cause, if the viral is spreading, I got sick, but it's not that everyone is becoming sick. So another cause, which is a remote cause, is My immunity is weak also. I remember I used to have allergy. Like many of us, we know many people, or some of us may have some allergy, gluten intolerance, or some allergy to nuts or milk products, so on and so forth, or to the pollens, to the particular environment. We were in Melbourne, and one devotee told us, this is the allergy capital of the world, Melbourne. Here people have so many allergies. So it's just the body reacts to the allergy. So, but okay, allergens are there. And then we can see, okay, the allergens are the cause of my difficulty. But then there is another cause, that is, my body is weak. My body is weak. My immunity is weak. So here in the remote cause, we take the responsibility of the difficulty. So I remember, as I said, I used to have allergy, and small thing would trigger a lot of, sneezing and coughing and so on. A small reaction. And I went to an Ayurvedic doctor and I told him, I thought I have too much of allergy. He said, you have less immunity. Allergens are there for everyone. We need to build up your immunity. It's not that we take the allergens out and so on. How many allergens can you avoid? They keep changing. So you build up your immunity. You are weak. Focus on yourself. Now the focus has changed from allergens to myself. I need to equip myself better. So you build up your immunity. So therefore, that's a deeper cause. I want to explain this cause from Bhagavatam example. Now, Dhruva Maharaj, Bhagavatam gives the example. Dhruva Maharaj, he faced the adversity of his life. He was denied to sit on his father's lap. His heart was broken. His heart was burning. His stepmother said, you can't sit on your father's lap. So Dhruva, he identified, my stepmother is the cause of my difficulty. So his heart was burning, and he came to his mother, Suniti, and the very first words Suniti spoke, of course, she also felt very aggrieved to see the grief of her son. She felt very aggrieved at heart. But then she said, Ma mangalam tat pareshu mamsta bhungte jano yat par dukkadastas. So her first instruction to her son is, do not think bad of your stepmother. Can you imagine? Like, she spoke so harshly, and Dhruva's heart was burning, and mother's heart was more aggrieved. Can you imagine if the son is unhappy or sad or sick, the mother suffers even more. So Sunidhi actually was suffering more, but then she spoke amazingly. She said, do not think bad of your stepmother. Do not have any ill feelings for her. Just quite amazing, very difficult. Why? Because she says, Bhunkte jano yat par dukkha dasat. Whatever we undergo, we are responsible for that. That means, she says, we must have, broken someone's heart. We must have given grief to somebody previously. Therefore, we are being aggrieved. What you are receiving, somewhere in some lifetime, either in this or previous lifetime, we have given that to somebody. Therefore, now we are receiving. Therefore, do not think bad of your stepmother. She says that in the Bhagavatam, and this comes repeatedly. So, Haridas Thakur, if you see, when he was prosecuted, the immediate cause was the soldiers or the king who pronounced, or the Qazi. But Haridas Thakur, he said, oh, I heard the blasphemy of the holy name. Therefore, because of my hearing the blasphemy of the holy name, it was very offensive. Therefore, I am suffering for my own offenses. He took the responsibility on himself. So somewhere, as I said, this is now a parallel perspective. We have to identify the immediate cause, deal with it, but also understand that we are also responsible for it. We are also responsible for it. So if someone has spoken a little harshly to us, probably my tolerance is very less. So if I that person is immediate cause, fine, I have to deal with it. But looking at me, I may also say, okay, my tolerance is very less. So I take some responsibility. I identify, so that's the remote cause. Or I may have spoken harshly to somebody, now that's coming back to me, and so on and so forth. So Bhagavatam helps us to identify the deeper cause than the immediate cause, which is the remote cause, where we take the responsibility. We take the responsibility of anything that happens to us. Okay, but that's not sufficient. Now, if we start taking the responsibility on us, it may be very depressing. It may be very depressing for us or for anyone else. So therefore, the Bhagavatam takes us to the next deeper level, where Bhagavatam says, whatever happens to us, any challenge, any difficulty, any adversity, there is another cause, a third cause. Beyond the immediate cause, beyond the remote cause, is the ultimate cause, who is Krishna. Who is Krishna. So therefore, whatever happens in the life of devotees, there is Krishna's hand over there. That's the ultimate cause. So, Tattenukampam, Lord Brahma describes that, my Lord, this is also your mercy. Tattenukampam. So, now, I would like to explain that ultimate cause with the help of one example. Prabhupada would, of course, also teach us that this is how the devotee sees, whether it's my mistake or not, is my immediate mistake or probably some other mistake. If not immediate mistake, somewhere, I may have done something wrong because that is coming to me. But still there is Krishna's hand over here. And who is the ultimate cause? There is a nice example of His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj, Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj. He got the melanoma cancer, most of us know. He would take all his medication very diligently. He would chastise the nurse if she would get late for giving her the medicine. And if she comes late few minutes, he would chastise her that you are not doing a duty properly. I must take the medicine on time. So he was very particular to take the medicine on time. That is how, at the first level, right, we have to deal with it. Any difficulty, any sickness, anything has come to us, we have to take the right medicine or address it. So he would take the medicine with due diligence. But then within his heart, he accepted it that Krishna is purifying me. And there is a beautiful statement where he says, I want to offer my love to cancer. He says, now just imagine, he is so diligent that he chastises the nurse for giving the medicine late. But then another level, another deeper level, he says, I want to offer my love to cancer, for it has been sent by Krishna, who doesn't make mistakes. That means it has been sent by the Lord. Ultimately, there is Krishna's hand in it. He doesn't make mistake. So there is something, Krishna has some plan for me, even though we cannot understand. This is his mercy. This is also his mercy. So the devotee sees Krishna's hand, and this gives us a very positive perspective, because Krishna is supremely positive. So we can always be positive. Yes, the Lord is there. His hand is there. So Krishna's mercy is there. Right? And the Lord is Achyuta. Achyuta means he is infallible. He is infallible in his affection for his devotees. He is infallible in his protection for devotees, undoubtedly. So his affectionate nature, his protection for the devotees is always there. It's infallible. He knows everything. It's not that he's missing something. He's Sarvagya, he's infallible. Nothing is unknown to him. He's extremely merciful also by nature. Krishna always protects his devotees. Therefore, knowing that, we should take it positively that whatever is happening, there is Krishna's hand in it. Ultimately, the Lord's hand, merciful hand is there. Therefore, taking shelter of him is the ultimate solution. So we identify the first cause, immediate cause, it helps us to be practical. We have to be practical. We have to identify the immediate cause and deal with it on a practical level. Take the due measure, take the due medicine. That's the most practical aspect of it. The second cause helps us not to blame others and keep ourselves pure. Identifying the remote cause that I am responsible helps us not to just blame others only, but also take the responsibility oneself and accept it as a purification. I am being purified. So our mind and intelligence becomes pure when we understand the remote cause. And ultimately, when we understand Krishna is the ultimate cause, then we are very positively connected with the Lord. To the degree where Bhakti Maharaj to say, I do not want to part with it. Right? He mentioned that several times. Sent by the Lord. And it's for my, not just purification, but my supreme benefit. And he would take it so positively. So therefore, seeing Krishna's hand, seeing the ultimate cause, and taking shelter of him lies the ultimate solution also. So these are the three causes, the immediate cause, the remote cause, and the ultimate cause. We see any difficulty in these three perspectives and respond parallelly in three ways, then we can deal with any situation in a much better way. And we're much better equipped. So now I would like to request Radha Gopinath Prabhu to share another perspective, elaborate upon it, which will further deepen our understanding. Hare Krishna. Turn this off.
हाथ में ले लो ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे Hare Krishna. So I would like to begin from where Damodar Prabhu left off. The ultimate cause, and also how an elevated or an advanced devotee perceives the adversities, the calamities, or the crises that come upon everyone in their life inevitably. Crisis is inevitable. From the womb to the tomb. Birth is a crisis, truly speaking. Of course, it's a very happy event if everything goes smooth. But it is extremely anxiety-ridden and painful for the mother and also for the child. What to speak of death and everything in between. Teenage crisis or midlife crisis. So life is like that. And there is conflict literally everywhere. From the atomic particle, the most macroscopic interplanetary conflicts. There's going to be conflicts everywhere, inevitably. That's the nature of this world. Padam, padam, vipadam. Bhagavad describes that padam padam vipadam, every step there is a calamity, a crisis, or an adversity. So how does one who has the spectacle of Srimad Bhagavatam see it? And how do they respond to it? So here is a beautiful incident from Srimad Bhagavatam of the person who inspired for the writing of Srimad Bhagavatam, and also the purport by another person, Bhagavat, Srila Prabhupada. So this is the first canto, 6th chapter, conversation between Narada and Vyasa. Actually, Bhagavatam began with a crisis. The Bhagavatam was the result of a major crisis. Gita resulted from a great adversity. So all glorious, wonderful things, how they come up, if we have internally the right perspective and externally respond in the right way. So when Vyasadeva was completely dissatisfied, even after putting his life's energy to write literatures for the benefit of humanity, so that they find happiness, satisfaction, and they be blissful. But the paradox was, in spite of compiling all the literatures, he was feeling emptiness and dissatisfaction. And then, as he was intensely praying, Narada Muni manifested himself by the, as Prabhupada says, by the mercy of Krishna, one gets a guru, and by the mercy of Guru, one understands Krishna. And Naradaji starts speaking about his life, which began with a crisis 2 lifetimes ago. He's telling how I am what I am today. He went for a wonderful Sankirtan festival. And that turned out to be a great catastrophe for him. As an Upadevata, in his previous life, he was an Upadevata called Upabarhana, a fantastic singer. So much so that he was always surrounded by beautiful ladies who were so much enamored by him. And he was invited by the great sages and other powerful devatas to come for a Sankirtan festival. And he went there. And he was singing. Prabhupada writes he was singing Bollywood songs. In one particular lecture, he said. But it was about himself. It was not about glorifying Krishna. It was completely about himself. He was absorbed, self-absorbed. And he was cursed by the Prajapatis. And there he was born as a son of a maidservant in some very insignificant parentage. Doesn't even mention who their parents were. It was extremely humbling. Extremely humbling, just like a carpet pulled from under your feet suddenly. You know, we are performing something, everyone looking at you and that. Imagine. But he was extremely grateful. He was put in such a situation. he had to be humble. He was forced to be humble. The greatest problem of all these adversities is a big fat ego, a false ego. A humble person is already flat on the ground. Where is the question of falling down? You fall only when you go high and slip. But if you're already lying flat on the ground, where is the question of falling? There was nothing to be proud of in that particular insignificant parentage and the situation that Narada was. Burijan Prabhu makes a very interesting statement. He says, born out of that humility was dependence. Because when a person is humbled, he appreciates his dependence on so many other factors for what I am today. And born out of that dependence is appreciating. And born out of that appreciation is respect for everything, for the whole creator and the creation. Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate. It's perfect and complete. The incompleteness or imperfection is in my vision. So here is Narada telling that in that situation, I was helpless, 5-year-old boy, but good fortune came in my life. And that was the Bhaktivedantas happened to come for the 4 months of Chaturmasya. Earlier, he was amongst the Prajapatis who were like Bhaktivedantas. But because he was so egoistic, he just couldn't appreciate. But now, because of his situation, he was very humble and he could take advantage of that association. He heard from them and he served them. He accepted their remnants once only with their permission. So born out of that mercy, he got an opportunity. Because he was humble, he got an opportunity. He served. While departing, they instructed him. The same instruction that Krishna gave to Brahma. The same instruction that Krishna gave to Uddhava in 11th canto. The same instruction that Krishna gave to Arjun in the Gita. In Parampara, he heard that. And having served them, he actually realized that knowledge. There's one thing, there's head knowledge and there is heart knowledge. The head knowledge is more theoretical. The distance between the head and the heart is actually maybe even if he's a very tall necked fellow like me, 15 inches. But to bring it from the head to the heart, it may take 15 lifetimes. So for the Siddhanta to become Sad Achar, there should be sadhana. Head knowledge is, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. But what are you doing about the soul? So that sadhana gradually, that Siddhanta sinks into the heart and it becomes manifest as Sat Achar in our thoughts, words, and action. And they left. After they left, Naraji was, not Narada, that boy who was profusely blessed by the Samadarshis. And that's another amazing thing. They were Samadarshi, but they specifically blessed the boy. How can they be Samadarshi and be partial to someone? As Krishna says, Samoham sarvabhuteshu, name dvesho sthira. And in the same verse, not in the next chapter, he says, Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mahite teshu chapya. But I'm very partial to those who are surrendered to me. I mean, how can a person say two contradictory things in the same verse? But he says that. One time, Prabhupada was giving his darshan, and there was a little boy, 12-year-old boy, Veerbhadra, whose mother was a minister of deity worship at that time. And he raised his hand. So Prabhupada said, yes. And at that time, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj was a brahmachari. Or probably grahastha, I don't know. So this Veerbhadra asked, Prabhupada, how come you are so merciful to Tamal? And Prabhupada looked at him, and as all of you were smiling or laughing, that's for the same mood. But Prabhupada was very thoughtful, and then he said, no, I am giving the same mercy to everyone. But he has taken advantage of it. The sun shines equally. But if you sit in a dark room and close the windows, what can the sun do? So they were merciful, but that little boy, Narada in his previous life, took advantage by qualifying himself to accept that mercy. And therefore, after they left and infused his heart with their mercy, by which this became realization, then came the biggest adversity in Narada's life, that boy's life. He was completely dependent on his mother, 5-year-old boy, no experience of going out of the village, what to speak of traveling the world. And then he says, once upon a time, my poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten on the leg by a serpent, influenced by supreme time. Now, crisis, adversity. But Narada, the boy, 5-year-old boy, saw all the three causes. And we see how he responded, how he was empowered by the mercy of the Bhaktivedantas to respond properly. An adversity can be a calamity for the ignorant, but an opportunity for the self-realized, or for those who have the vision of Srimad Bhagavatam. I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees. And so thinking, I started for the north. North meaning, it's very symbolic, going to the north. Southern direction is Yamaraja's abode. Northern abode is going higher. There are two paths in this world. One up and one down. The down path is those who have no faith. Ashraddhadhanaha purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapyamam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. They go deeper and they go lower and lower. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatareshayam. While satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana katha tajjoshanad ashu apavarga vartmani. One is mrityu samsara vartmani, another one is apavarga vartmani, going above. So Srila Prabhupada writes a brilliant purport, short purport, but every word has any of his purports, but sometimes we realize it. It's like, wow. I mean, this is proof that, as Prabhupada himself said, I didn't write it. Krishna was dictating, I was just writing. It was his divine ecstasies. He says, confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of the material fever is gradually diminished and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it. We were traveling all over recently for the devotee care seminars conducted by the GBC Devotee Care Committee. Amazing a manual that has been brought up, embedding care in Krishna conscious communities, which talks about caregivers who take care of people and caring administrators who take care of projects which is run by people. How to inculcate that caring aspect so that people feel a sense of belonging and people feel protected, enlivened, and enthused to remain active in the mission of Srila Prabhupada till the last day of their life, thus making their life successful. So one observation that we made throughout was, I was thinking it's only in India after the COVID, this pandemic. But everywhere in the world, the number of people coming to spiritual places or inquisitive about understanding spirituality has increased everywhere. Thronging. I was in Auckland where Sunday feast, 70 people would come. Now there are 450 people, which is like a big number. Everywhere in India, suddenly the youth is taking interest. Everyone is trying to. And I was thinking, why? Because of the most biggest adversity collectively faced by the whole planet in the form of this pandemic. It was, in one sense, a blessing. People may misunderstand this statement if they only put this, sometimes which people are very good at. They clip it. This is what ISKCON says. Blessing to the worldwide community. No, it is a fact. The ego become, I have figured out everything. Karlo dunya muthi mein. It means I can put the whole world in my fist. Ishwaroham, aham bhogi, siddhoham balavan sukhi. We actually feel we have figured out everything. We are on top of the world. Everything is fully under our control. As per the Gita, this is the demonic mentality. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, krantiman. Opposite of that is humility. Can you imagine? One devotee was explaining all the viruses that affected the whole world. If you combine them together, they may be 5 grams. They will not exceed 5 grams. And they caused the lockdown of the whole world. Super adversities, individually and collectively. People going crazy, people committing suicide, national economy going down, internationally affected, just few grams, an invisible enemy. It's extremely humbling how dependent we are. We do not appreciate the blessings of the Lord. And sometimes it is necessary, as it is mentioned here, the temperature. Amazing statement. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever. And by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished and spiritual health is obtained step by step. If we have the eyes, we will appreciate it. We will see all the causes. So there are two aspects, as I said. An adversity can be seen as a calamity, or it can be seen as an opportunity. How do we see it as an opportunity? Because factually, and in the word factually is the word actually. The fact is, the whole material creation is designed only for one purpose. Only for one purpose. As an opportunity for the rebellious souls to reform, purify their existence, and achieve the highest perfection of life, eternity full of knowledge and bliss. But it's about how we see it and how we respond to it. I would like to share a practical incident. I was in Kolhapur, it's a satellite center of our temple in Maharashtra state, famous for Mahalakshmi ji. And I was there, and I was supposed to do the Mangalarti, which is at 5 o'clock in the morning there. And somehow the alarm, as usual, didn't go off. And when I woke up, it was 4:40. And the temple is about a few minutes distance, 3-4 minutes distance. If I really run it, maybe 2.5 minutes. And I wake up, and then I had to, the fastest multitasking kind of thing I ever did. I was trying to shower and brush and everything at the same time. And we had this big wash basin there. And I was about to start the tap. It was getting late. And then I see this big hairy insect, trying to climb. For probably that insect, it was like a stadium, a velodrome, like that. The poor thing was probably at the end of life, because Jai Shri Radha Sam Sundar ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramaya ki, Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. So I was trying to, and somehow, I don't know, my conditioning from childhood or whatever, I find it a little difficult to hold it by the hand. Though I have the vision, Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini. Everything is a soul. We are not the body. But still, a hairy insect body is a little difficult for me to hold by the hand. So, but I wanted to, if I had started the tap, I would have said, chant Hare Krishna and just tap. So he'll go back to God. He'll go down the drain first and then go up to the spiritual world. I said, no, I'm not so pure, and I may get caught up early in the morning since sinful activity. So I had to remove it, but at the same time, getting late. So I looked around, there was some leaves, some cleaned up and put some leaves. So I picked a leaf and placed it right in front of the insect. And he just turned and running in the other direction. I said, you don't understand, I'm helping you, come on. I was running away. Then I took 2 leaves and put from both the sides. He ran the third direction. I don't have 4 hands to cover all the 4. Still, I managed 2 leaves like this and like this. Held it like that and brought it close. He had no chance to do anything except climbing on the leaf. But he just wouldn't. He was just going around and around. And I got so angry, I pushed it from behind, literally a kick in the butt, as they say, push it on the leaf, threw it, and I brushed and got ready, and I was running. And as I was going to the temple, I was thinking, this is what Krishna always does to us. We are trying to get out. We are trying to find happiness. We are trying to find peace, bliss. Krishna is saying, get on, come on, climb. No, this is calamity. So the situation he puts in our life, we see as a calamity. And we're trying to run away. But as it is explained here, the devotees of the Lord who understand not a blade of grass can move without Krishna's sanction. They see all the three causes and also take a responsibility. It's not just seeing the cause. Seeing the cause is internal perspective or way to perceive. But there has to be an external response in alignment with those thoughts. I was doing a debate competition for our children in our school, as it was announced, the school that I go. So for 8th standard students, we had a debate. And the debate was entitled, Hands that work are better than lips that pray. Hands that work are better than lips that pray. Basically, Purushartha and Daiva. Daiva is, providential dispensation. Purushartha is your efforts. So we divided the class into half. And some for hands that work, and some for lips that pray. And I said, now, prove it now, which is the right thing. So first, one boy raised his hand and said, give your understanding of this. Hands that work are more important. And he said, Prabhu, work is worship. God helps those who help themselves. And such, amazing propositions. We wrote it down. Then we looked at Lips That Pray group. And they were also giving so many. And then one girl stood up and said, Prabhuji, Draupadi realized that hands don't work. That is the time she raised her hand and prayed. And that's the time Krishna performed miracle. So prayer is most important. And the boy from this side gets up and says, Prabhuji, even to pray you need hands. And the girl says, Gajendra didn't have hands. He just raised his trunk. And so this went on. And then the boy stood up. I said, Prabhu, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Today, if a woman is disrobed, do you think first class Dharmavaram sari will come down? And wrap her? Sachi bolo. Tell the truth. Will it happen? Draupadi came, sari came. Everyone was silent, including me. But internally I was active. What can I say? Anyway, the discussion went on and on. After both gave their solid arguments on their side, I said, now the discussion is over, the debate is over. Now all of you place your hands on your chest. True to your heart, tell me, what do you believe? Hands that work or lips that pray? Suddenly everyone became a little grave and thoughtful. First time. Till then they were just kind of wanting to win the debate, win the argument. Then they said, Prabhuji, 60-40. Somebody said, no, 20-80. No, 70-30. So discussion went on, which is more important, which is less. Ultimately, they said, Prabhu, forget about our devote. You tell what is the reality. What's the truth? I said, do you want me to tell you the truth? He said, yes. The truth of the matter is not 60-40, not 70-30, not 80-20, not even 90-10, 100%, 10%. Hands that work are more important than lips that pray when you are working. And 100% lips that pray are more important than hands that work when you are praying. You people are clapping, but the children didn't. They said, Prabhu, you can become an excellent politician. You're trying to pacify both the groups. We want to know the truth. I said, that is the truth. Internally, a devotee's life is a life of prayer. And externally, leaving no stones unturned in your effort to avoid the adversity. And then I looked at the boy who had asked me, Sachi bolo, tell me the truth. Will sari come now? 5,000 years ago, the sari came and Draupadi called. Will the sari come now? I said, even now it can come. I said, let's not go back 5,000 years. Let's go back just 50 years. Look at a person, Bhagavat, Srila Prabhupada. If you read his biography, he was writing the article. He was trying to go to Chippiwada, from Vrindavan to Chippiwada, Delhi, to get it typed, proofread, again get it retyped, then literally getting it printed with no money in his pocket. That person, Agarwal, says in one particular conversation, he says, I used to ask Swamiji, have you eaten your breakfast? He said, no, don't worry about it, don't think about it. This is very important. For him, the mission of his spiritual master was more important than his own needs. He would sometimes skip his lunch or even breakfast. Whatever little money he got. And if people wanted to donate, he said, give me some paper, that's all. Because paper was in scarcity at that time because of the war. He said, no, give me that paper, that's important. He was personally going from shop to shop, tea shop, to distribute the article that he would write. Started League of Devotees after 2 years, kicked out from that place after doing 2 years of extensive investment of his energy, time, and effort. This was externally doing everything under his, whatever possible, to actually making that effort. But what was his prayer? That prayer is revealed in the Jaladuta. He said, I have no idea, my Lord, why you're bringing me here. But there must be some purpose. I have only one thing. My Guru has ordered me. Somehow, he just told me, you know, you're an intelligent young man, not once, twice. One at the beginning and one just before departing. He had written in 1936. The last letter of Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was again the same thing. Take this message and spread it in the English language all over the world. So, externally, he was doing his best. But what was his internal consciousness? I have no idea. Make me dance, my Lord. Make me dance. Nachao, nachao. I am simply a doll in your hands. Complete dependence, 100% dependence on the Lord, knowing full well that He is the ultimate doer. As Krishna says in the Gita, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Mam, remember me. In the form of time, I have already shown you, Arjun, except you 5 brothers, no one will survive in this battle. Nobody will go back to their home. Except you 5 brothers. Bhishmam cha Dronam cha Jayadratam. In the form of time, he was devouring, his teeth was crushing all these warriors. That doesn't mean, as Prabhupada said, Arjun, you sit down in one corner and smoke ganja. No, he had to fight. So Work as if everything depends on you. If you don't do it, no one will do it. But pray as if everything, not as if, the factually knowing that not a blade of grass can move without the Lord's sanction. This is the amazing understanding. Internally, fully convinced that Krishna is the doer. I am simply an instrument. But to become a true instrument of his compassion, we need to remove the resistance which is given by the false ego, and that ego covering the intelligence, mind, and the senses. Avratam jnanam etena, jnanino nitya vairina. But internally, fully being convinced that yes, the Lord is the doer, while externally doing everything in our capacity. Manasa, vacha, karmana, to mind, words, and body, to actually do it at the same time, not be attached. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadacham. It's an amazing understanding. And in the lives of these great acharyas that we see, most of them had challenges in front of them, which is inconceivable, impossible. Humanly speaking, impossible that a 70-year-old man with no resources, just 40 rupees in his hand, is going all over the world to make the whole world Krishna conscious, start an international society after repeated failures. It seems illogical, irrational. But that's spirituality is all about. One statement recently, I think this morning when I was sitting in Devkinandan Prabhu's house, the top room, which he has very graciously allotted for us, there was a quote by His Holiness Radhanath Swami I had seen. I saw on the table. I don't remember exactly, but I'll tell you, paraphrase it. The great power of self-confidence, or something to that effect. It is unimaginable, the kind of self-confidence that a person has when he has faith in the power, the glory, and the grace of the Lord. What is impossible for Krishna? What's impossible? As Prabhupada would say, impossible is a word in the dictionary of fools. We simply become an instrument, and we are amazed at the miracle that happens, unfolds in our lives. As same Arjun, who defeated practically the whole army, later, when he was returning back from Dwarka, same Arjun, same chariot, same Gandiva, everyone was there. Only Krishna was not there. And his will was not there. And therefore, he couldn't protect the queens from even the Aborigine tribal people, cowherd people, who came with their sticks and all that. Here were powerful, trained warriors on the planet, the best of them, Maharathis. And Arjun was, like finishing off. And the same Arjun couldn't do. He didn't go into depression. He went into ecstasy. He realized, my Lord, at that time, it was your will to establish religion, and you make me nimitta matra bhava savyasachi. Actually, Krishna says in the Gita, tasmatva muttishta yasholabhasva. Get up, Arjun, gain the glory. Bhungtva tasmatva muttishta yasholabhasva jitva rajyam bhungsha samudham. Mayai vaite nihata purvame. Actually, I have destroyed them all. You simply become an instrument. So, It's just like the fan is on, the lights are on, everything is on. But if the main switch is off, it's all decorative pieces only. The fan may be thinking, I am completely cooling the whole hall. And the light may be thinking, I'm lighting everyone. I'm enlightening everyone. But just if the main switch is off, it's only showpieces. But because Arjuna was convinced about it, he's such an exalted, pure associate of the Lord. He, in both situations, when a person has this realization, every adversity is an opportunity to love Krishna, to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. Wonderful opportunity. So therefore, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, in that book, Die Before You Die, that was his last book. And there he mentions one particular meditation. He said, wow, Krishna is so merciful. And then he explains, mercy comes in three forms. Have you ever thought about this? Mercy comes, he said, in three forms. There is mercy from the front, there's mercy from the side, and there's mercy from the back. I said, what is that? Mercy from the front means you went in front of the Lord, you prayed to him, you longed for it, you asked for it, and you got it. So, wow, Lord, you're so merciful. I asked it and you gave it. Mercy from the side means you never expected and something wonderful happened in your life. And mercy from the back is the last thing you ever want, even for your enemy. And that happens to you. And to say, thank you, Krishna. There's only one word that a devotee speaks, and that is, thank you. Tatenu kampam sushamikshamaano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam harid vak vapurbhir vidadhan namaste jivetayo muktipade sadaya bhak. Through his body, mind, and words, the only language he says is, thank you, Krishna. Thank you. Good days, bad days. Happy days, sad days. Honorable days, dishonorable days. Successful days and unsuccessful days. Seeing Krishna behind that. You know, our Gaur Gopal Prabhu made a very nice statement. He was speaking about gratitude. He said, it is one thing to say thank you. It is another thing to mean thank you. And it is totally another thing to live thank you. I said, what is that? To say thank you, to mean thank you, and to live thank you. He said, to say thank you means to recognize what someone has done for you. You're walking and your purse falls off, wallet falls off, and somebody picks it up and says, excuse me, is this your? Thank you so much. I recognize that I had practically lost somebody, gave me back. So to say thank you means to recognize what someone has done for you. To mean thank you means to remember it and never forget it. But to live thank you means to reciprocate. A life of reciprocation is defined by our founder Acharya of this Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, Lord Brahma, after he was extremely humbled, thoroughly humbled, humiliated. Can you imagine? In front of all the demigods, he is being worshipped, and that Lord Brahma comes to Vrindavan, and his whatever ego as a creator he had was crushed to powder. But Brahma is in ecstasy. 13th chapter is Brahma Vimohan Leela in the 10th canto. The 14th chapter is Brahma's prayers. And in that, the 8th verse is this verse. Tattenu kampam sushamikshamaano. Seeing the mercy of the Lord, whether it comes in the front, the way we expected it, unexpectedly wonderful, or the least expected, horrible. But to see Krishna's hand behind everything and to just say, Krishna, thank you so much. Very easy to speak, sitting in an AC hall, knowing that immediately prasadam is going to be served. Totally another thing. Right now, as we are sitting here and enjoying such a wonderful darshan and association, several hundreds of devotees in Ukraine overnight had to leave their homes with only two things, the cloth on their body and a passport in their pocket. This is their only identity. Otherwise, they have no identity. They're on the streets, literally dislodged from their home. Big home, wonderful family, and they're on the street today. Hundreds of them. Some are in the subways, some are in some schools, government schools, which has been given. Some are coming in the temple, not knowing whether the food will be supplied, whether the building will survive the next bombing. This is the reality. It can happen. Padam padam vipadam. Jai Shri Radha Shyam Sundar ki jai. So this is an indication that I should stop. So it can happen to us, any one of us, at any time. This is Bhagavatam. There is a comfort. We go into that comfort zone and thinking that, yeah, it's nice to hear Bhagavatam class every morning. But this is a reality. Any moment, any one of us, one instant, the whole situation can change. But for a person who is convinced about the perspective given by Srimad Bhagavatam, the amazing jewel of realizations given by our acharyas, it is such an amazing gift that one who has it simply thanks Krishna, and he actually goes into ecstasy every moment, in every situation. Of course, externally there is anxiety, there is suffering, there is struggle, but internally knowing that someone is holding my finger, it's fully under the control. Nothing can happen without his sanction, is allowing it. He is all good, he is all knowing, and he is all loving. These two things are easy to understand. All knowing, yeah. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani char bhavishyani bhutani. He's all knowing and all powerful. But then when we go through adversity, we wonder, does he really know? Or my file has been misplaced in his office? Does he understand what all I did for him? Or is he really powerful? Or is there some other power which is so powerful that even helplessly poor fellow Krishna is watching? What can I do, my child? There is something which has overcome you, which I can't also do. No, he's all powerful. He's all knowing. So, does he not love us? He's all. No one can ever love us more than how much Krishna loves us. If one is convinced of these three truths, then adversity is not a calamity. Any situation, including adversity, is simply an opportunity to love him, to serve him, to please him. And it's such a benediction if we have the eyes of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of such sincere devotees, which Srila Prabhupada's mercy has given us all over the world. Wherever you go, you find nice, amazing devotees. We have the holy name with us. We have the deities. We have such an amazing environment. This is Vrindavan. Now, non-different from Vrindavan. Now, the Shyam Sundar is here. Prabhupada has handed Vrindavan to us. It's up to us to develop this consciousness to appreciate what we have. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So since already 9 o'clock, tomorrow we will have questions if there are any. Since there is also a presentation tomorrow, so I'm sure there must be some questions. So, Madhupati Prabhu, what do you think we'll go for? Tomorrow this time we will have questions. I'm okay, I'm not sure. We are at your disposal. Okay, one question. Yashoda Dulal Prabhu. Very nourishing.
Thank you, Radha Gopinath Prabhu and Damodar Prabhu. Truly spectacular class, very nourishing, very hope-giving. My question is, as a beginner devotee, if something happens to me which is a jar, which is like contrary to what I wanted, I might, from my lips or even from my heart, say thank you to Krishna, but not truly know how this is beneficial or an opportunity. So at that stage of shallow realization, how should we proceed when something happens which we view as an adversity? We want to be grateful to Krishna, but we don't quite know how.
5 things you should always do. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathura Vasa, Srimurtira, Shraddhaya Sevan. Sakala Sadhana Sreshta, Ei Pancha Anga, Krishna Prema Janmai, Ei Panchera Alpa Sangha. Yes, theoretically, logically, scientifically, we know these truths. It's head knowledge for us. It's not heart knowledge. This distance is quite, this journey from here to here, from Jnanam, Vijnana Sahitam, Yajgyatva Mokshase Ashubhat. Then there is no Ashubh. When there is realization, there is nothing inauspicious. In this material world, auspicious or inauspicious, materially, auspicious or inauspicious is all inauspicious. If it makes you turn away from Krishna, forget Krishna, but materially auspicious or inauspicious, it's all auspicious. If it helps you remember Krishna, to serve Krishna, to love Krishna, to surrender to Krishna. If you remember Krishna, that's the ultimate thing. But it's not easy to remember Krishna. And therefore, this, a favorable environment of completely taking shelter of the holy name, the association of devotees, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, practically serving the deities and the devotees. It's actually, Prabhupada was asked one time, very in the early days, how many pure devotees you have? He said, how many are there in ISKCON today? There's so many pure devotees. What? Yeah, potentially. It's like a raw mango. As long as you remain connected with the tree, it's only a question of time when the mango becomes ripe. So right now, it may be more theoretical. Right now, it may be intellectually understandable. But factually, we have seen the questions that come up for devotee. Why me? Why did Krishna let me down? These are reality. So that's the time when we are shown, assessment. In exams, it's not failing or passing, it's assessment. It shows where you are strong, where you need to work, room for improvement. Real teacher never fails any student. He just assesses them. It's like a mirror, shows them, this is where you are. This is your current status. These are the strong and this needs to work. You need to work on. It's like you're doing some gym, you go and stand in front of the mirror. Yeah, the biceps are good, the triceps need to be worked on. Something like that. So yeah, that's realization will come. Therefore, the need right now, Krishna is a distant reality for us. The real reality, though Vastava Vastu, that is really real. But that is facilitated by a devotional atmosphere, association of devotees and all the other favorable items of devotional service. So that should actually, where we run to during that situation for shelter, shows where our trust is. Yeah, situation will come, but where do we run to for shelter? Do we run to anywhere else, or do we run to Krishna in the form of his association of devotees, or to Bhagavatam, to the holy name, like that? I don't know if that answered your question. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. So we'll take 3 questions, since it's 3 quick questions, and then.
Hare Krishna. My question is about cause and effect. Effect is the result. So causes of the past life, so every moment of this life is a result based on the causes of the past life. Is that true or not?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, the activities of the past and our choices, current choices both determine what's the effect. Again, to give a simple example, one Ayurvedic doctor told me, he said, well, if you are diseased, probably 20% is your past, you're destined to suffer, but 80% is because you ate the ice cream and it is for raining. So you got the cold and cough, you're suffering from the fever or whatever. So it could be, so it's always the interplay of the past and the current choices. But what is in our hand are the current choices. So either we can magnify, our suffering, or we can minimize it by our current choices. So what is in our hand is what we focus upon. And that can help us a lot. And ultimately, even if it is from the past, our past activities, karmani nirdahati kintuja bhakti bhajam. So Krishna has the power, we take shelter of him. He can even remove that which is not in our hands, but everything is in Krishna's hand. So we do what is in our hands, make the right current choices, and we depend upon Krishna for what we've already done, then the Lord can take care of that also. Prabhupada used to say that when the devotee suffers, he should think that if I got a bruise on my hand, I should think actually Krishna is very merciful. By my past karma, my hand was supposed to be cut. Or I was supposed to have a fracture, but I just got a simple bruise. That's Krishna's mercy. So he can interfere with our karma, with our destiny. But we should make the right choices, which is in our hand. I hope that helps. Hare Krishna. Okay, the third question.
Hare Krishna. I hope Mataji's get one chance.
Oh, okay, yeah, the mothers haven't got the chance. So
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu's, for a wonderful class. I want to say your 7-day Gita class that you've given, that has cleared so many questions for me in my early days. And even now, as we preach, we just send those links and so many questions get answered. So my question for today is, you talked about the blame game, right? Like, something happens to us, we always blame something external. And we do that a lot as children, like Dhruv Maharaj also does that. And as we grow up through teenage, we do more. We say, why did you give me birth, to our parents, and all those questions. And then as we grow older, then we realize that, no, I own this. I did this. That's why it happened. Or Krishna, it was, from my past karma. But then there are a few people who don't grow up. They just keep blaming others. You could have some friends, you could have some relationships are like that. Or at work, sometimes, it's always the blame game, right? In the meetings, it'll be, oh, your teams didn't do this. This is why this happened. So typically, my response is to to address what it is and not take the blame, because it's not always true. So what is the right way to stay humble, or to accept that as mercy of Krishna? Maybe I've done that in the past and it's happening to me at this time. Or what is the right way to take this scenario?
Thank you so much for asking this question, because this lecture would be incomplete without answering this question. There are two aspects. There's internally how personally we see it, and externally how we respond to others going through this situation. First of all, we cannot allow somebody abusing, exploiting, and we say, yeah, this is my quota, I have to bear with it. No. We defend. We defend. Krishna inspired the Pandavas. Arjuna didn't want to fight. Let them live. This one, it's all right. He was giving 5 different reasons. Justifiable reasons. And anyone who reads that, wow, what a saintly person Arjuna is. He's fully right. Krishna called him an impotent fool for giving this brilliant, logical, scientific, shastric reasons. It's a nonsense. So that is one thing. And one should never speak this philosophy to a victim of some kind of, this is violence. It would be sheer violence if someone is suffering and you say, your karma is like that. That's like adding salt to the wound. So this is for us how to accept, and rise up through those situations. And just like Dhruva, when he went through, he was kind of depressed and he was practically overwhelmed. But by the association of devotees who reminded him again, he rose up back to his original glory. So first and foremost, in our case, when we go through these kind of situations, we have to do the needful. We have to defend ourselves. We do whatever it takes to do the needful. At the same time, acceptance should be there. You cannot deny this. Otherwise, it's an ego. No, I cannot be wrong. Whether millions of lifetimes, I could have never done this. No, it has to accept. Yeah, we don't know. Ignorant, as in ignorance, we may have done something. So this is for personal application. How to understand and rise above it, overcome that, and to move on. Not allow this anchor to be stuck. We're stuck there. No. We need to release this anchor and move along, move forward to cross the ocean. Regarding others, when people are going through it, actually we should become an instrument of the solution, not a problem. Whatever way we can. We should try to do that. So that is the proper application. Otherwise, it will be extremely violent on our part to speak like this to someone who is already, undergoing a lot of suffering and distress. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, I think we'll end here. I know there are questions. Tomorrow there is a longer session. Okay. So, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Radha Sham Sundar ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinde ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So let's show gratitude, thanking both His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu and His Grace Damodar Prabhu with the loud Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. On the other side, we have serving prasadam. Tomorrow is also Ekadasi, minimally fasting from grains and beans. Tomorrow's session will start sharp at 6 p.m. Sharp at 6 p.m. So please come and join.